everybody? See, everybody's starting to shuffle, not shovel, shuffle in. Super, super excited about it. It's gonna be fun. So we'll continue letting people come in.
Cool. Let's see who we have. Cool. We have Ron, Vicky, Sandy, Siva, Chu, Lisa, Doug, Gene, Michael, gosh, and about close to 100 more, which is good.
Wow,
You
that was
guys are
quick.
awesome.
You guys draw the crowd. Nice.
I'm pretty sure it's you.
Yeah, let's be real.
I don't know about that, man. You guys have been doing this a while. I've done a great job of it too.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it. This is going to be fun. It's a fun day, guys. It is the lunchtime special, or for some of you, the brunch time special. So we're excited. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun day. Give it a probably a minute or so more. Make sure everybody's in before we get started. I had muffins. That's what I had for my brunch time special.
I think I eat all day, man. I never stop eating. As a runner, I probably should explain. I burn so many calories, man. I run a lot, and so I eat a lot. It's kind of cool. I get to eat pretty much whatever I want, but I never stop eating. That's how I roll, man. I've always got a snack here.
It's good. You're on the seafood diet. Whatever food you see, you eat.
Exactly right, man. I probably need to lay off some of it, actually, the healthier stuff. I need to hit a little more, but lots of cookies even and stuff, man. I cheat.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I've been biking a lot lately. That's helped.
Yeah. I don't know how people do life without getting some exercise in there 3 or 4 times a week. I mean, I'm miserable unless I'm out there doing something that makes me sweat. I can't do it.
I love it. All right. Well, if you guys are ready, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All righty. Well, what's up, everybody? Super, super excited to be here. We have the absolutely amazing Jim Cochran. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing great, man. I hope I can live up to the hype of the introduction there.
Well, I've been following Jim forever. I mean, I obviously have been with Brett's team for a while and have ever since been following you and what you've been doing, and I am truly inspired by how you have changed the game and the Amazon community and the e-commerce community as a whole.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you make it sound pretty significant. So we got a lot to live up to today.
Well, for those of you, if you have not been on a master's class, first off, welcome. We're super excited to have you. This is going to be an absolutely fun day. We have a master on. He is the inspiration for so many of us, and I'm so excited that you guys tuned in today because it's going to be a fun one. What we want to do is kind of paint the picture for those of you who haven't been on a masterclass of what this looks like and what we do. We want to bring on the best people in our industry and in other industries to teach you guys their tools and their tricks and their techniques, how they've changed the world and they've changed the world around them. What your job is within this is to suck all the knowledge you possibly can out of them. They have gold gems, and it's our job to dig it up. So I'm going to be trying to ask the best questions I can, but it is your guys' job to fill that comment section with questions. We want to get those things answered. If there's something in this time that we're talking that absolutely intrigues you, we want to know. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to know how you're responding to it. If there's struggles, if there's successes, we want to know about it. So again, your job is to ask the questions, and we want this to be the most productive part of your day. Because if you're not walking away with content and knowledge that you can use in your future, I didn't do my job. So you guys, we are so excited. We're going to get started. Again, thank you everyone for being here, and Jim, thank you for being here. Dean, you're the man. Thank you for being here too.
Good job, Dean.
Thanks, man. I'm going to be hidden in the background just fixing things because something inevitably always goes wrong. I'm just in the back.
I'm jealous of your microphone setup, dude. I got to get me one of those wire gizmos. That's cool.
Likewise, I see yours. I'm like, oh, that'd be nice.
All I've got is a Kermit tied to my microphone, man. I need one of those wire gizmos.
No, I'm still on my desk. One day I'll be as cool as Dean. Well, today I wanted to bring on Jim because I went through his course. Gotta get this right. Proven product partnering. I always get it wrong,
There you
and
go.
it absolutely changed the way I think about business. I was actually talking with some good friends of ours, and they're doing amazing things in partnering, and I love the idea that I can be a help to somebody else with my Amazon business, but I can also change the way that Amazon is operating as a business because their product is now represented. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Help us understand what is it that's so important and so amazing about partnering when we're talking about Amazon as a whole.
Well, let's take it from a 10,000-foot view real quick, just to kind of get inside of my head about why we've been doing things the way we do for the last 15 years, and we'll narrow down to specifically Amazon. I went to eBay Live events. I don't know if people can maybe virtually raise their hand. I'm guessing there's a good number of people who have been to one of those massive 30,000, 50,000 eBay Live events. They stopped doing them about 8 years ago. But you'd meet a lot of people there, and I was kind of a known eBay expert at the time, and people would come up and we'd have conversations. And one of the questions I loved asking eBay sellers at the time was this, and I still ask them this all the time. That question is, if eBay, or fill in the blank, PayPal, Facebook, Amazon, Google, YouTube, any of the big boys, if they suddenly decided one day for some reason they don't like you, randomly you violated one of the policies that are constantly changing and shifting and overlapping, and you vanished, what does your business look like? And no one likes thinking about their business that way. They didn't then, they don't now. But as I was asking those eBay sellers 10, 12 years ago those kinds of questions, and no one had good answers, what I started noticing was a pattern of we need to diversify our income. If we're going to be internet entrepreneurs, we need to diversify where our income comes from. It's great to hit a home run on eBay or Amazon or one of these other sites or even your own website. That's awesome. That's one income stream. But your security is kind of based on your ability to create multiple income streams. And that's where that thought has just always been in the back of my mind. I try to systemize and automate everything so that I'm left doing only the stuff that I can do, which frees up my time to go create new systems that produce income. You do that long enough. I've been doing this since I've got a 15-year-old now who was born right before I went full-time, right after I went full-time, I should say. So about 15 years now I've been doing this, creating new income streams. Now some of them slowly fizzle over time. Others get stronger over time. Some of them go up and down. But you add them all together, and I've got this incredible free lifestyle now with all these income streams. And partnerships make it all possible. To go straight to your question, if I didn't have valuable partners, like your guys' good friend Brett, he and I are doing great stuff together. I've got about 80 partners now, people who contribute to my business in a significant way on a weekly basis, but none of them are employees. It's performance-based partnerships. I'm not talking about the traditional partnership where you need a legal and a document and an accountant to help you work out the details. I'm talking about performance-based, temporary in some cases, project-based partnerships. It's a beautiful thing. I built my whole business. So when you start doing that, it opens up so many, and we each have our own specialties, and we can partner together. And so I'm able to focus on doing the things that only I can do, the things that I do very, very well, and I get better and better at those, and I partner with people who are really good at other stuff. So I don't have to be good at 50 things. One of my favorite sayings is probably one of the things that I wound up being the most quoted for at this point is people with skills work for people with ideas. So I don't focus on constantly adding new skills to my resume. I don't want to learn PHP and then Java and then new tech skills and how to read the Amazon's reports and then how to do all these. I don't need all those skills. I'm not the guy with the answer to everything. I'm the guy who's one phone call away from an answer to any problem you have, though. So I make a fantastic partner because I've got a bunch of other great partners. So hopefully that gets you inside of my head a little bit. It may sound like a bit of a jumbled mess, but there's a real system to it. It's liberating. Here's something. Here's one of the best questions I was ever asked. It was at an event a couple years ago. Someone said, Jim, it sounds like multiple income streams is total chaos. I mean, you're just managing all these projects. How do you know what to work on? How do you know where to focus? How do you know what you're going to do any given day? And my short answer to that was, if you're doing it right, it's not chaos, it's liberation. It's liberty. It's true freedom. It's true flexibility because everything runs with or without you. You show up and improve systems when you can. You work on the weaknesses when you can. And when you need your free time, you use it because you've got good people and good systems in place. So you start to apply that to your Amazon business and things get really cool. And that's what we're going to talk about with the proven product partnering. I've got a lot of courses. I actually had to write it down here in front of me. But that is an awesome course that we came out with recently. And I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has about that or anything else for that matter.
I love it. And this is kind of where I've had to develop my mindset and how my brain works is choosing to partner with people isn't always easy, especially if there's not a contract involved, because you don't know what the other person's going to do. But
Never
I love
have contract.
I love that. I love that you've talked about it's on a handshake and like
even better than that. Andrew Kavanaugh, my partner with Offline Biz, right? We finally met a couple months ago. We worked together since where's my hat? Let me grab something. Here it is. See if you can see that. Can you read what that says?
2008.
2008. So I met Andrew Kavanaugh. There's only 2 of these hats in the world. So if you ever see this hat on eBay, it's either Andrew or I are really struggling, okay? Because I made two of these and I gave one to him when I met him for the first time 2 weeks ago. So do the math. We started this business in 2008. We never met. We never talked. We never Skyped. I didn't know what his voice sounded like. I didn't know what the guy looked like. We built a membership site with tens of thousands of members. We swapped back and forth tens of thousands of dollars every month since 2008, and I didn't meet him until 2 months ago. And we kind of got to know each other for the first time. But we did it because he knew my reputation, and I knew his. And if you get your reputation out there and you protect it, which is your greatest asset, your reputation, if you protect that and you protect your integrity and your character, people can easily find you, partner with you, and then you don't need a contract at that point. And if someone does burn you, guess what? You just don't do business with them again. It's that easy. You don't need contracts.
I love that. That's so cool. I know this is going to be a question, but how do you handle when somebody isn't as trustworthy as yourself?
Well, trust is something that's earned. Okay? So I'm really surprised when someone burns me these days because you got to get through several hurdles to get to that inner circle where I trust you. Okay? So I don't get burned. I can't remember the last time I truly got burned by someone because there's some hurdles. There's some hoops you have to jump through. And one of those hoops is, let me make sure I phrase this correctly so everyone understands. If you have no reputation online, that doesn't mean you are or aren't trustworthy. It just means we don't know. Okay? There's a lot of people out there. We just don't know. Can we trust them or not? We don't know. But on the other hand, if you've got a best-selling book and a large loyal audience and people tweeting about you every day and you appear in multiple articles and you're doing interviews all over the place and people are raving about you every time your name comes up, well, that's probably someone you can trust because it's hard to be a total jerk, rip-off con artist over the long term online. You just can't do it. It's impossible to do. You'll create a lot of enemies being a jerk and a con artist and a rip-off scam guy online. So you find someone who's been doing this a long time. You can't be successful long-term without good character. It's true in every industry. I was talking with my kids about this the other day. We were saying, name some musicians or artists or famous people that have done well, and they've done really well for a long time. And people tend to say good things about them. We've never met them, but it's a good chance, a really good chance, they have a lot of character. That's why the CEOs of most corporations, if you do your research, they're married men who've been married to their first spouse. For the most part, they've got kids. They're good, moral people. They contribute to. They give away a lot of money. They do nice things for other people. They're really good people. You don't rise in the ranks of our culture without being a good person. It's just hard to do. Now, there's some exceptions, of course, but if you're looking for good partners, you can do a little research pretty easily. See, what are people saying? The last 10 people that worked with this guy, what are they saying? It's not hard to do. You don't need to meet them and shake their hand and hug their neck and have dinner with them, and it's just not necessary. They know their stuff. They've got a good reputation. You move forward, and it's a low risk thing too because it's performance based. Meaning, if I partner up with an affiliate and they don't sell anything, well, they don't get paid. So what was the risk there, right?
I like it. That's so good. Well, I want to get down to more of the nitty gritty. I love the 10,000 foot view, but let's get down to the nitty gritty. I just started selling on Amazon. Well, okay, let's say I'm 4 years in. I have a good understanding
Okay.
of how Amazon works. I have some of my own products. How would you suggest that that person goes and grows their business?
Well, one of the things we talked about diversifying already. Okay. If Amazon, God forbid, shuts your account down tomorrow, what happens to your business? Well, that's an ugly picture. But what if you have a different scenario? What if instead of going to clients that have a great product and saying, hey, how much can I buy that product from you for? I want to start selling that product. You go to them instead and say, can I help you sell that product
Hmm.
online and keep a percentage if it goes well? Because you know how to set products up on Amazon. So you help them sign up their own Amazon account. You help them send their own FBA shipments into Amazon. You automate the whole process for them. You manage the process to a certain degree. You put in, now this is the one time where contracts are used because there's a lot of money moving back and forth, and you want to but it's a very simple email contract. You'll be shocked at how simple the contract is that we have in that course. It's just an email, and there's nothing to sign, but it is an explanation of who does what and who's responsible for what. And from there, it's pretty much automated. You help them with some of the cool new marketing things that you've learned along the way. You help them with bundling. You help them with doing some creative things that you know that work. Or better yet, this is how stupid simple the whole offline biz principle is, okay? And I've given you some clues already. When I say offline biz, all of this chatter to me, when you're talking about partnering with real world companies, brick and mortar companies that need our help, it's the offline biz concept in my mind, okay? So when I say that, that's what I mean. It's so simple because you don't have to have the skills yourself. I am not, if I had to build a website right now, here I am, a best-selling author, internet marketing expert, invited to speak at conferences, and people pay me a lot of money to get my opinion on internet marketing. And if I had to build a website, I couldn't myself. You put me in front of a keyboard and say, build a pretty website. I can't. I have no idea. And it would scare me if I started acquiring those skills, because people with skills work for people with ideas. I want to be an idea guy, right? So all I have to do is go in front of these prospects and say, yeah, I know how the internet works. I know how to sell stuff online. Let's talk about your business sometime. And then you sit down with them and you ask good questions. You don't give them a bunch of solutions. You ask good questions. That's the key. Step number one when you get into our offline biz community, for example, is learn to ask great questions. Because once you ask great questions and get them talking about their own business, everyone loves to talk about their own business. Most business owners never have someone sit down and say, just, I've got 8 really good questions. I'm just dying to hear the answer to these. How do you market? What's your most effective marketing strategy? Are you marketing online? How's that going for you?
Hmm.
Where are your biggest pain points in the internet with your business? What do you think you could be doing better on the internet? Have you ever considered selling on eBay, Amazon, and sites like that? What are your best sales reps doing? Who's your ideal client? I mean, I just gave you literally, if you go back and listen and just ask business owners those questions, you will get businesses that say, you know what? I haven't thought about those kind of things. And I know I should be. Are you capable of handling that for me? Sure. You send them an email, you start a relationship. Next thing you know, you've got 2 Amazon accounts. One's yours, one's theirs, and you're getting paid a percent. It's a beautiful model. And then if anyone loses their Amazon account, you've got multiple Amazon accounts, right? It's true diversification.
Ah, that's absolutely wonderful. I hope you guys are taking notes. I know my page is almost full and we just started. I love what you were saying about ask good questions. This is something that my dad actually absolutely drove into us as kids, that it's the most important thing that you can do. Be a good listener, not a good talker. It's more about the
Yes.
listening than the talking. And I love just reiterating, what you were saying, that good partnerships are built on good questions, and that these guys that you want to work with and want to sell their product online, it's gonna take you understanding their product and understanding what they're doing, and
Yep.
and I love that. So I'm the new seller. I'm 5 years in. I want to diversify it. I want to grow my business. I go out and I talk to several different dealers, and I'm asking good questions. What's the next step?
Well, they're going to tell you if they're ready to go or not. And the nice thing about this is it's a zero risk proposition, right? There's not many business owners in history who, if you approached them and said, here's the deal, I want to try to sell your stuff, and you only pay me a commission if I'm very successful selling it. And here's what I want to try to do. I want to do X, Y, and Z. Who can say no to that? I mean, why would they say no to that? You're not asking them to write you a huge check and then cross their fingers and hope it works out at some point. and the work involved for you isn't significant. So you have to realize it's a very low risk, zero risk proposition pretty much all the way around. I mean, the worst case scenario is you get some nice looking ads up on Amazon and the product doesn't move very quickly. That's the worst case scenario, right? I mean, you can't imagine a worse, there's no negative scenario here. You're not saying, let me go build a $15,000 website and then a shopping cart, and then we're going to try to do some SEO magic and drive some traffic, and 8 months from now, hopefully we'll start making some sales. That's not the pitch. The pitch is the most used e-commerce website in the history of mankind doesn't have your products on it yet. Would you like to be there? Because I can do that for you. If they say no, you move on. Odds are they're going to say yes. Right? I've actually got a little coffee shop right down the road from us. And let's talk coffee for a second, okay? One of the best testimonials in our entire community is a guy who lives in the island of Jamaica, Barrington McIntosh. He called me up out of the blue one time, and I started recording the phone call because it was just incredible. He lives on this tiny island. He went and bought a few bags of coffee from a local coffee manufacturer, which is the #1 product in Jamaica, #1 export. And he put them on Amazon and they sold. So he went and bought a case and they sold. He went and bought 10 cases and sent them in Amazon and they all sold. And pretty soon the coffee manufacturer calls him in and says, what are you doing? You're our #1 sales rep in the world and we've never heard of you. We have people we pay to travel the planet and try to sell our coffee and they can't keep up with you. How are you doing this? And he said, well, sign a non-disclosure and I'll tell you. And at this point, he's a coffee guru of the universe. I mean, he's got coffee brands and other brands calling him from all over the place and he's helping them get on to the site. So these companies need you, is the point I'm making. But I've got this little coffee shop down the road from me. They've got their own brand of coffee. I've told them that story. I've told them the story of Death Wish Coffee. If you go to Amazon right now as we're recording this video, if you go to Amazon.com and type in one of the most popular keywords in the universe that people shop for, it's coffee. If you type that in, the #1, 2, or 3 response, depending on the day and the time, it's going to be Death Wish Coffee. That's a guy who 2 years ago, maybe 2.5, was living in his mom's basement, running a coffee shop in New York. Couldn't keep the doors open, worried he was going to go out of business. Bought a copy of my book, flipped it open randomly to the chapter that talked about gatekeepers, which is the idea of contacting people who have the audience that you wish you had, and figuring out a way to befriend them and partner with them. Partnerships again, right? So he sent these people who have these coffee blogs and these coffee YouTube channels, he sent them samples of his coffee, Death Wish Coffee. Within a couple weeks, I couldn't have written the script any better. Within a couple weeks, he's on NPR, CNBC, MSNBC, Good Morning America, Fox News. They're calling me. He's turning down Apple TV, who wants to interview him for their entrepreneur channel. I mean, he can't keep up with all. And now, jump forward, he is a top 3 finalist. Right now, as we're speaking, like I texted him yesterday, I'm like, any news yet? He's like, no news yet. He's a top 3 finalist for Entrepreneur of the Year through Quicken, you know, the internet software.
Yeah.
They are fully paying, 100% paying for. I almost have to sit down to believe this is true. A Super Bowl ad. He's out of 10,000 companies that got into this competition, right? 10,000 companies. They narrowed it down. He was a top 10 finalist forever, all the social media voting. We helped him with all that. He's now a top 3 finalist. So within a few days or a couple of weeks, we will know. I mean, literally, they are writing a full check for him to have his own 30-second Super Bowl ad in the next Super Bowl. Like, what? How? But this all goes back to the power of what we have to offer. So here's this little coffee shop down the road from me, and I tell them these stories, and they're like, I just don't know, man. I'm just, like it sounds, I don't know. There'd be so many sales and so much involved, and I just, like, never mind. It's okay. When you're ready, here's my book. Give me a call, But I would love to turn him into a success story. But they hear these stories, and they know these are true. But like, some people just don't get it. Some people just don't want to succeed. I mean, some people listening to this, you sabotage your own success. We all do it in some little ways. That can be your worst enemy. You can't be afraid of growth. You can't be afraid of profit. You can't be afraid to serve other people and get paid well for doing it. If you're afraid of those things, you need to get your head straight, because we need more successful entrepreneurs. We don't need fewer rich people in the world. We need more rich people in the world, okay? Just because someone makes money doesn't mean someone else lost some. The beauty of it, here, let's just hit this for just a second. The beauty of a free market system is this. Every transaction has 2 winners, the person who paid and the person who took the payment. 2 winners every single time in a free market economy. Assuming there's no outside influences like the government picking winners and losers, there's a winner on both sides. I wanted a cheeseburger. I paid $4 for it because it was worth more than $4. Otherwise, I wouldn't have paid that much. And the person making the burger loves the fact that I paid them for it because it only cost them $2.50 to make it for me. So we're both very happy at the end of the transaction. If he wants to charge $50 for that hamburger, however, I'm not interested any longer. I won't spend my money there. That's the free market system. It's that simple. That's all you need to know. And if you get into that system and you're not afraid to profit, sky's the limit. And I could tell story after story. I mean, just our community is just so full of exciting. And like, I mean, Brett is another one. Dude, he had $400 in his pocket a couple years ago. And here he is with an 8-figure business on Amazon, and we're partnering together creating courses. And, you know, he's a rock star. He was on stage at our event just a couple of weeks ago, and he couldn't hardly get out of the room. I had to go over to him. I'm like, hey, Brett, I need you. And like this crowd follows us out the door. I'm like, I just wanted to get you away, buddy. You all right? I mean, just, you know, because these stories are so compelling and powerful, and people know that there's something here, and it's not complicated. But rather than me just doing all this stump speech stuff, man, I mean, I could tell stories all day. I want to hit some specifics, man. Hit me with some hard questions. Let's give people some more meat.
Totally. So I think I've actually seen this question a couple of times, but how do you discover a prospect? I love what you said, that you walked down and you saw somebody, you know, you went to your coffee shop and asked them.
Yeah.
How do you discover any brand that you could potentially sell?
You know, if you make it known that you're someone who knows how to use the internet as a creative internet tool, or sorry, as a creative income tool. That's a phrase I use frequently, using the internet as a creative source of income. I know how to do that. There's 1,000 ways to use the internet as a creative source of income. You just let it be known. I'm the guy who knows Amazon. I'm the guy who knows eBay. People see me and they'll say, hey, that's the eBay guy. Hey, that's the Amazon guy. Embrace those titles. Let it be known. Tell people this. I had a phone call with a coaching student here just a couple of weeks ago, and he said, you know, I'm kind of struggling because I'm doing job X over here, and I'm involved in this, and I'm doing this internet thing too, and I don't really want the two worlds to collide. I'm trying, you know, how do you keep those two worlds separate? You don't keep them separate. That I would never advise you keep this part of your life separate from that part of your life, separate from this over here. And that's why I say when you're on the internet, use your name, use your real name, use your real face, put it boldly and proudly on everything. And me personally, I said this from stage just a couple weeks ago, and this is how I get the word out that I'm available to help you with your business. No matter what it is you're selling, this is how I do it. I don't know if I'm working or playing or spending personal time with family, or if it's spiritual time, or if it's entertainment. It all blends together. If I'm working, I don't know. It's me. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I know. It's all out there at all times, and I'm consistent in my message in all times. I do everything ethically and honestly. If you're going to partner with me, I'm going to have high expectations of you, and you should expect very much from me. And your reputation becomes your best business card. The next best thing behind a good reputation, let me show you. Let's have one of these. Best business card you can get, a book right here, okay? That's mine. It's not about making sales of the book. It's about having the credibility that goes with having a book. So if you're looking for the best possible credibility builder and business card, get yourself a simple book. Even to the point of, 15 things you must know to sell your product on Amazon. I mean, pretty much everyone in this audience could compile a little 10-page booklet, right? And say, here's the things I've learned about how to sell on Amazon, how to get your product out there, and just give it away free to businesses. There's 1,000 ways. In our offline biz community, there's 1,000 ways that people talk about finding partners. I mean, spreading word among friends and family, going to events where business owners gather, and when you get that 10 seconds to say, this is the business I'm in, you just need 10 seconds. And you raise your hand and say, well, I know how to sell stuff online. I've been doing it myself and for other clients for a long time. If anyone's interested in learning how to move more product or gain more prospects using the internet creatively, I'm your guy. That's it. No business card needed. No website needed. I don't have a business card or a website to advertise that part of my business. Neither does Andrew, by the way, my partner at Offline Biz. Neither does Dan, the guy that put together the Proven Product Partnering course with us. We don't have websites and business cards and letterhead and a list of all the prices we charge. All those things that we want to do when we set up a business. You don't need any of that. You just talk about it. You just let the word spread. Let your own results in your own business kind of be your only evidence that you need, or better yet, the community that you're a part of. There's no question any business owner in the world could ask me right now, for example, that would stump me about internet marketing. Not because I know the answers, because I know where to go online into my Facebook community. Say, hey guys, I said someone asked me a really tough question about dentistry and blah blah blah. Like, okay, well here's how I've worked with dentists my whole life. I found a guy, I turn him over to him, and I keep a finder's fee. I don't even have to be the guy doing the work or even closing the client for that matter, because I'm a part of a community, which is a powerful, powerful thing. So there's 1,000 ways to find clients.
That's awesome.
Offline biz hits it hard, and we go into specifics, but I don't want people to be sitting there thinking, oh, okay, I got to go do this to find clients. Oh, then next I have to do that to find. No. Be who you are, where you are. Be great at doing what you do. Word will spread. Let your reputation be your strategy. That's good. Let your reputation be your strategy. You know what? I should probably write that down.
Yeah, I'm writing it down. The next question I had is, do you look for product or do you look for people first?
Well, the ideal candidate is going to be a mixture of a couple different things, and we cover this in the course. But if you have a person who already has a following, they've already got some charisma, or an organization, for example, that already has a following, and they've got a mailing list associated with that following, email list ideally, you've got a sure winner. Like one of them that Dan did, he went to a school corporation. This should get everyone excited. It's the ultimate fundraiser. Okay, you go to a school corporation, and instead of having the kids go door to door, knocking on the door, selling candy bars or whatever it is they got that month, right, annoying everybody, how about we just have the kids pass out a coupon that says, hey, everybody buys paper towels. Our school corporation now has its own brand of paper towels on Amazon. And starting on date X, would you please support our school corporation and only buy our brand of paper towels now? Okay, so that's cool. You're thinking, oh, wow, you've got the whole school corporation buying brand X paper towel. No, it's bigger than that. Suddenly you're ranking on Amazon for some of the best paper towels on the planet because you've got everybody buying, right? You catching the vision now? I mean, how simple is that? How simple is that as a fundraiser for a school corporation, right? So you've got the perfect partner is someone who has an audience, and they have a product. Either you can create a product for them or bring a product into the mix. Dan did that with coffee with the school corporation. The school corporation came up with their own brand of coffee. So it's not so much about a person or a product. It's kind of a mixture of both, because ideally there's going to be an audience behind it that you can instantly email and say, hey guys, we've just gotten out onto Amazon. We're going to run a special for a few days. Here's the link. Go hit it. Because we're all looking for that spike in the rankings on Amazon. Because once you spike into the top 2 or 3, then you got people all over the world noticing your product, right? And it stays there. That's what happened to Mike Brown. That's how he's staying on top of the coffee world. He got there, and then he stayed there because his product was good. Strangers are buying it going, hey, my mom and dad are serious coffee drinkers. That's what they drink now. They're like, dude, that's really strong, smooth coffee. It's good stuff. But he never would have gotten there had he not done some creative things to get him bumped up and noticed. Staying there is a different game. That means you're good. Get there by some creative marketing to your audience. Stay there by being good.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. I need to write that down. I'll watch the replay. A lot of people struggle with communication. I love communication, but even I struggle with communication when I love somebody's product and I want to help them and serve them, but I don't know how to communicate. Can you give us some top tips on communication?
One of my John Maxwell's awesome. If you want to learn, communication is about leadership. Business is about leadership. Let me back up, and this is going to sound like such a platitude, but business is life and life is business, right? I mean, it really is. We're all in business. You say, oh, no, Jim, I'm not in business. I've got a job. Yeah, you're in business. You have one customer, your employer, right? And that customer can walk away anytime he wants. That's a risky proposition as far as I'm concerned, having one customer. And if they don't pay, you're out of business. Yeah, we're all in business. Unless you're sitting on the couch collecting government checks or something. We're all in business, dude. Okay? So business is life. Life is business. We're all in business. Succeeding at business is leadership. Leadership. Work on leadership. One of the key components of leadership, probably one of the most important, I can't think of anything that's more important, is communication, which was your question. Now, does that mean you're a great orator? Does that mean you can jump up on stage and captivate an audience? No, I'm not all that good at it, to be honest. I've had to do it a handful of times. I found you're most effective when you just get up there and be yourself. You take a handful of things that you want to talk about that you know well, and you just be yourself. And you kind of like I'm doing right now. There could be an audience of 500 here. I don't care. or just me and you? I've gotten to the point where I've done enough. I just don't care. So you got to overcome some little hurdles, but be genuine, be yourself. Don't try to channel your inner, whoever it is that you think is great in front of an audience. Don't try to look like or sound like or be like someone else, because we each have something so unique and powerful to bring. Just be yourself. Just be who you are. Talk about things you're passionate about. Communication needs practice. A lot of it is listening, like we already talked about. Ask, then listen. And if you find yourself doing the most talking in a social situation, you messed it up, especially if you're early on in the game. People will always consider you to be an incredible conversationalist if you spend way more time listening than talking. I love talking to you because everyone loves to talk about themselves. So if you go in with that thought, I actually solved my 14-year-old's youth group issues this way once. He came home and he said, "I was just so awkward and I don't feel like anyone wants to talk to me and no one likes me there. I'm not sure I want to do that." And I said, "Here, try this next time. I want you to try this. I want you to make the entire event about other people. Go in with no agenda that you want to get something out of it, but just try to make it great for other people. Ask them genuine questions and then follow up in a genuine way. Go in prepared. Look for the person who's off by themselves and just go up and just ask, 'Hey, so how's your week going, man? So what are you into? What do you like to do?' And do that 5 or 6 times." He came back. He had the best night. He's like totally the heartbeat of that youth group now, because he's the kid that people know. If you go up to Trey, he's going to ask you great questions and he's going to listen to your answers and ask you a good follow-up question. And now people can't wait to spend time with him. It's that simple. It's the what's the classic book? Winning Friends and Influencing People. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie, I believe. Right? I made him read that book. Great book. If you're struggling with communication or relationships, which are vital to business, read that book, or anything by John Maxwell, or anything by Daniel Lapin, another favorite author of mine, Lapin. He's probably my favorite author right now. If you're looking for good business and relationship and communication, because that's all vital. Those skills are vital. You may think you can sit behind your keyboard and anonymously tap away and make a bunch of money on the internet. You can't. No one does that long term. Some guys get lucky, short term, little spike of income here or there. Long term, business is life. Life is business. You've got to be a good leader to succeed. You've got to work on your leadership skills to get to that next level.
So good. I love what you were saying just about like how you're teaching your son, because it just these are lessons that I'm so honored that my father taught me and my mom taught me, that just good communication, like ask questions, and just the success, in a sense the success that your son has felt and the community that he's built is due to you teaching this lesson. So please, anybody listening, take it, use it, because it's true. It works.
Yeah. Well, he is now a much sought after, has his own photography business. He's 15. He's booked up. I mean, he is booking up. He's doing his own wedding soon. Imagine having a 15-year-old shoot your wedding. He's got the reputation and the equipment and the business acumen. He didn't go take a class at a university. He got on Reddit for his technical advice. I mean, he's hanging out with a bunch of guys who've been doing this business for 20, 30, 40 years. You can't get that at any university. Show me a university where you can go and hang out in a classroom and have 15 people who've been doing the business for 20, 30, 40 years advising you. Why pay for a college education for that? Come on. I really struggle now. Like, universities, please justify your existence, because I don't get it anymore. Why would I pay you a bunch of money to tell me what books to read and I have to sit in rows of chairs with one expert up front? I can get online and have 40 experts advising me, and it's free. That's your competition, right? But putting that aside for a moment, so here's a 15-year-old booking his schedule solid. Like, we still have to drive him around to his gigs. I'm like, dude, you're going to be using Uber soon. He's like, that's so cool. Yeah, I'll do that. So he's going to be using Uber to go to his gigs. But he's got his own business. He thinks like an entrepreneur. We're raising entrepreneurs. We homeschool our kids, which gives me a big advantage. Because one of the presentations I like to do is, and I'm not going to do it now, but I have a list of about 30 things that I go through that I had to unlearn from my traditional public education before I could succeed as an entrepreneur. Well, he doesn't have that disadvantage. All he's known is entrepreneurial thinking. All he's known is provide value and serve people, and that leads to good things. That's all he's ever known. He's never had that message pounded into his head that, oh, rich people are bad. Success is evil. Successful people need to give something back because they didn't earn that. They took stuff from people to get there. So they have to give a bunch of stuff back now, or they're a horrible person. He's never heard those messages. All he's heard is serve, succeed, Do great things for people. They'll be begging to pay you money for it if you serve them well. That's all he's ever heard. So yeah, he's got his own business, and actually my 2 oldest boys work in our Amazon business as well. My mom runs that part of my business for me. It's very much a family affair. So yeah, a great family, great foundation, man. That's priceless. That's priceless.
I love it. Oh, it's so good. One of the things that, as I was going through the course, I love when you guys talked about building a timeline. This is so important, to build a timeline with the person you're talking with. Can you run through that really quickly for the audience?
I can't say I've got it memorized. Dan put that part of the course together, but I do know you want to set very, very accurate expectations based on what's going to happen and when, because you don't want them thinking that they're going to be selling a ton of product next week. It's a slow and steady thing. But the beautiful part of it is you don't have to ask them to write a big check at any point. There's no big risk for them at any point. When I have conversations with clients, I say, I can't give you necessarily an exact date of when all of this is going to start clicking. And I can't even guarantee you that it's all going to start clicking. Yeah. But here's the things we're going to do. And here's the order we're going to do them in. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what you're going to do. And you lay it all out. And then if they want to take their time, that's cool. If you can't get to a certain part of it, that's fine. Now, it's not complicated stuff. And I'm not sure if that's the answer you were going for or not, but I think setting proper expectations is definitely, it's vital, because this business can't be reduced to, like Barrington had some great success. He just bought a few bags of coffee and sent them in and they happen to sell. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes there's some things that need to happen along the way to boost it, to give the product its best shot at succeeding. And you don't succeed with every client. The vast majority of the time you do. We've never had anyone disappointed. I don't think Dan would say he's ever had a disappointed client. Because again, the worst case scenario is they've got some great new photos of their products. They've got them online, maybe for the first time ever. They've got some good marketing material to use. They've had someone who's decent at doing internet marketing look over their stuff. So there's always something in it for them. And we don't charge upfront for these arrangements for the Amazon. We get paid as the product sells. I have other clients that have to pay me upfront. I do a lot of bartering even. I had a guy build me the latest barter that I did. He built me a cool 80s arcade game with like all the 80s arcade games in it. That was his payment to me, because that's what he does. I'm going to help him market, helping him write a book. And I'm like, hey, instead of paying me my upfront fee before we start, how about you just build me like your best unit? He's like, all right, man, I'll do that for you. It would cost me $5,000 otherwise. He built it for me. It's sitting in my basement. I've been playing it. We actually launched it at our event a couple of weeks ago. As I was telling this story, I'm like, this is how easy this business is. It was a conversation. I asked him a few questions. We were at an event. He didn't know who I was. He'd never heard of me before. But I said, hey, I'm an internet marketer. I know how to move stuff online. And what are you doing online? He said, not as much as I should be. Here's what I do. Here's what I've been doing since the late 90s. Like, so you don't sell much of these online? Like, not really. I'm like, let me take a stab at it, man. I'm part of a community of people who know how to use the internet to sell things in creative ways. If I can't figure out the answer, someone will. I'd love to take a stab at this. It's like, all right, man, let's do this. So we emailed back and forth a little bit. He built me a $5,000 unit. I've helped him write a book that we're going to put on Kindle. And we're going to be selling a ton of these on eBay and doing some other creative things on Amazon. And so that's how simple this business can be. For us, the timeline, which was your original question, I've told him this is going to be a slow and steady thing. There may be little surprises here. Things may not go perfectly there, but ultimately you're going to be better off. Promise you'll be better off. You're going to have some awesome marketing material. I'm going to go over everything. And at this point, he's realized he's dealing with someone who has some qualifications, because I've done a lot of this. But don't think to yourself, I can just see people like, oh, well, I'm not Jim. I don't have a book. I don't have a best-selling book out there on Amazon. No, but you're part of a community. Leverage that. Give them a copy of my book. Give them a copy of whoever it is that you read that's in your community. I tell people all the time, give people a copy of this book and say, yeah, this is the guy. I mean, I'm in his community. We live, eat, breathe, and sleep internet marketing. If I have to get on the phone and help you close a deal, I will. I tell people that all the time. Just drop me an email. And I've done it. Like, leverage the connections you have in that community to land those clients. But don't nail down, don't overpromise. I remember that back in the search engine optimization days, people would say, yeah, we'll get you ranked to number 3, run away. Don't offer those kind of results, and don't believe anyone that offers you those kind of guaranteed results. Just say, we're going to take a really good shot at this. Here's the kind of people I'm hanging out with, and here's what they're doing. And I'd like to take a shot here. And anyone that's giving you promises of guaranteed results, you shouldn't be listening to anyway. That'll ring true with people. Hopefully that helps you. I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit.
No,
But hopefully
it's
that's helped you with the whole
perfect.
timeline issue and laying out proper expectations. You don't have to promise the moon in a week. It's a relationship. It's a slow growth relationship, slow and steady.
Gosh, it's so good. One of the questions I had, and I feel like you answered it a little bit, is partnering for everyone? And I know you said it earlier, but like, you can only sell on Amazon for so long. You're gonna need to diversify yourself, and you're gonna need to do that. But can you kind of touch that a little bit?
If you're afraid to partner, it's revealing a flaw that you need to address. I mean, seriously, again, if business is life and success in both means leadership and serving others and working, none of us are meant to be alone. Now, I believe this is a biblical, strong, solid, central message, whether you're believe in the Bible or not, but it's none of us are meant to. For example, that's why I mentioned Rabbi Lapin earlier. He talks about in one of his books that part of the difficult, we have this image in our head sometimes, like, oh, if I could just move to a cabin in the middle of nowhere and chop my own wood and hunt my own, then I'd be truly happy, plant my own crops and farm the land, and just me and my wife and my kids. Like, no, people died in their 20s when we had that. I mean, their teeth fell out. You break a bone and you die. Like, we don't want that. There's a reason that we come together as people and have specialties. You break a bone now, you go to the emergency room, you come home an hour later, and you got a cast for a couple of weeks. We don't die in our 20s of diseases we've never heard of. We come together, we have specialties, we serve each other, right? So those partnerships, those connections, those are vital to success. Even on the anonymous landscape of the internet, those are vital. So you don't run away from those. You run towards them. You embrace them. You need to partner with good people. You need to be in a community. Lone wolves do not survive on the internet. The rules are no different in the real world than they are on the internet. Just because you're sitting behind your glowing keyboard and thinking, I'm gonna figure this out on my own, that's not how it works. You need a community. You need to be with other people. You can't be afraid to partner. Now, whenever I say the word partner, I always throw out this caveat. As Dave Ramsey likes to say, the only ship that won't sail is a partnership. Don't get into a 50-50 partnership. Those are disastrous. I'm talking about what I referenced earlier, which is the performance-based, project-based partnerships, like what Brett and I are going to be doing, right? He's put the content together. I've helped massage it. I've built the site. We've worked together to put it together. We're going to split the proceeds. We bring the audience. It's for that specific product. That doesn't mean he gets half of everything I ever do in my business, right? It means on that specific product. And those are the kind of partnerships that are beautiful, where the lines are drawn nice and clean. Either party can walk away at any moment and nothing's damaged. One of us can go on vacation for a couple months. Once it's over, it doesn't fall apart. It's those little specific point in time, A and B are defined. It's over at this point kind of projects, right? I'm not talking about, hey, my best buddy from high school and I, we're going to partner together and we're going to conquer the world doing 18 different things, on the internet. No, those tend to go very bad eventually. So there needs to be someone in charge. There needs to be understood rules of engagement. Anyone can walk away at any point with an agreement. One of the agreements we talk about in the proven product partnering, for example, is if you're selling for a client, let's say you're selling their widgets, and this has happened to Dan many times, and you start selling $12, $15, $20, $25,000 a month, and you're not doing a whole lot anymore. The numbers are just rolling, right? And the client's going to notice this and go, you haven't really contributed anything new for a while. We're kind of thinking we can do this on our own now. We don't need you anymore. Well, that's in the initial agreement, that what they do is they average up the fee that they've paid you the last 3 months and give that to you in a lump sum and walk away. And everybody's happy. It's built in, right? So we know how we can split ways happily and easily at any point that we need to. That's built into every good partnership agreement, even if it's not signed and looked over by lawyers who turn it into language no one can read, right? This is just an email that says, hey, you can get out at any point, and so can I. And here's what that looks like. And that's all in the course.
Gosh, that's so good. I know I keep saying that, but really, this is knowledge that I've tried to absorb, and hearing it again, I'm like, okay, like, it's a good reminder. Like, a lot of us are lone wolves. A lot of us sit at home on a computer all day.
Yes.
And this is what we do. And the community is typically with our family. The community isn't necessarily in a community. It's on a Facebook group. And I love what you're saying, because it forces you to go have real human interactions.
Yes.
And that's so key.
Yes. Yeah. We need that. You can't long term. That's why I think our events have been such a hit. Our CES events of just, they sell out in a day, and it's become a family reunion type of feel. That's the event I was saying that Brett spoke at on our stage here a few weeks ago. And just, we're all so craving that interaction of people who get us. And typically entrepreneurs, a lot of us anyway, we're not necessarily in families where they get entrepreneurship. It's kind of a weird thing. It's almost a curse at times. And like my wife and I have an agreement. I don't talk about business stuff. She doesn't read my books. She's a great advocate for the community. She introduced me at the event and she loves the community, but she doesn't know what I do. She homeschools our kids. We're on the same page with all of that, but she's not out there in the business world, and that's cool. And so we do need that interaction with people who get us, who understand business and networking. And yeah, you need to do that. And even if it's locally, even if you have to start a meetup group yourself, one of the things we do in our community is we've created a global map, and anyone can stick a pin in the map and see who happens to live near them. And we've had some incredible, like I found out months after it had been happening in Singapore, there's a group every month that meets because they found each other on the map, and they just get together and they hang out and they talk internet marketing, Amazon, and business. I thought that was so cool, to have built a tool that enables those kind of things to happen. It's just a free tool we threw out there, but our community say, they're sticking pins in the map and finding each other and hanging out together. So yeah, we need that. If you haven't done that in a while, that could be what's holding you back, because you're stuck in that little world of, anytime our world becomes so small that it just includes us, that's the definition of selfishness. Everything you're doing is just for you. You don't have the ability to serve if you're not out there serving, if you're not out there interacting, haven't given people a chance to interact with you and ask you questions and you answer back, and remembering the days when this was all so new and hard and confusing, and answering some basic questions. And that's what I like doing in the Facebook group. I challenge myself every day. Answer some of those questions that you've answered 1,000 times, at least for a few minutes every day. It just keeps you in touch with how overwhelming and intimidating some of this is for the new people, right? It keeps you grounded. It keeps you in that servant mentality.
I love it. It's been absolutely amazing having you here to talk about this. We're going to get into questions in a minute. I want to make sure to respect your time, Jim. But yeah, if you guys want to do this program, it's something that I did and absolutely have loved and have used, and in working on partnerships and developing partnerships. And it's something our company and our business does every day. First, I'd love to hear what you and Brett are doing.
Yeah, well, here in the next couple of days, Proven Performance Inventory is going to launch. Okay, and this is basically Brett's story. He's pulling back the curtain on what he's been doing. I still can't believe this is the same dude that had $400 in his pocket. And if you haven't seen the Brett and Chuck story, you can go to YouTube and just search for $5,000 bet. Brett and Chuck. I think that's all you need, but you'll see the story out there. It's on my YouTube channel. You can search for it, where basically someone called Brett out a few years ago after he posted on my blog. And this is how we met. He posted on my blog and said, "Hey, Jim, thanks, man. I'm making $1,000 a day thanks to your Proven Amazon course. This is so awesome." I'd never heard of Brett. I didn't know who he was, but immediately a guy named Chuck posts right beneath him and says, "Hey, I'll bet you $5,000 that you're making that up, that you just posted that yourself, Jim. You're just trying to make your own course look good. Brett doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a $1,000 a day business on Amazon." He called him out. That video tells the story of how we tried to track Chuck down because they live half an hour away from each other, Brett and Chuck. It was so cool. I'm like, I tried to get them together and make Chuck the hero of the story. And I said, "Hey, we're going to give that $5,000 to the charity of your choice and to our agreement, man. Come on, let's do this thing." And Chuck kind of vanished. He's nowhere to be found now. It's been 4 years. That's how Brett and I met. This youth pastor with $400 takes the Proven Amazon course. And now he's got this team of 50 people. Last I checked, an 8-figure business. I mean, that's a lot of zeros. And he's kind of revealing his unique way of getting into what we call gaps. And I'm doing it myself. I mean, Mom and I found one last night. And we're like, "Oh yeah, we're into this one." I mean, we get the system. It takes you a few minutes a pop to find these gaps on Amazon. And when I say gap, it means a lot of people are searching Amazon for a certain phrase, but no one is providing a product that matches that phrase, right? And these are gaps. There's millions of them literally millions of these gaps on Amazon. Sometimes, quite often, it's a simple bundle with a name brand product and then something else that makes sense added on. And then you're finding these keyword gaps. And that's the magic of it, is the keyword gap. The bundle isn't the magic. The magic is the keyword. So instead of hunting for products constantly, you're hunting for keywords. It's very simple once you know how to do it. And we go through the system. Again, it's the proven performance inventory. And I'm super excited because it hasn't even launched yet. It's launching here within the next few days. We're getting our leadership team and our coaches ready to go and making sure they understand it and they're using it and having success with it. That's what we do with everything. If I can't succeed with it personally, it never gets out there. Then my team has to learn it and start succeeding with it and use it, and then we roll it out. So we're in that stage where we're approaching the rollout because they're getting it and they're using it and they're seeing the light and they're finding these niche products. So yeah, I'm very proud of that course. Love working with Brett. Thanks for a chance to throw that out there, and I'm sure Brett appreciates it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, that will be coming out soon. For those of you who want to dive deeper into the content you heard today and everything that Jim's talking about, I highly recommend going and getting the Proven Product Partnering. We actually have a link at the top of the chat box. It's www.theonlineempireacademy.com/partner. Again, this is huge, and we want to just like the amount of help that this has had for my life and my heart. I just talked with a guy last week about how he can, it wasn't even necessarily a partnership that I wanted to partner and get something from him. I just wanted to help him and partner with him to develop his business and his life. And I took the principles I learned from this, and now this guy is selling his own private label products on Amazon. He started within a week. He's already contacted people. Awesome stuff. He's getting started.
That's a great point. I mean, you can just charge people to consult too, right? And I would encourage you to charge for your time, because if you hold up a sign and say, hey, free advice about internet marketing, anyone can come and use up my time as much as you want, you're going to just get overwhelmed very quickly. And maybe you do that at first, but you'll learn. You'll just be on the phone all day with people asking all kinds of questions, and they haven't earned the right to take up that much of your time. They're not a serious prospect. So the way you distinguish serious prospects from those who aren't serious is, of course, monetary payout, right? So you get that in arrangement in place, like with the friend you're talking about. You pay him, or sorry, he pays you for your advice and time, and it's a one-time payout. You don't necessarily get a percent of everything. We're getting a nice shot of Dean.
Dean. Good.
Sorry, guys.
No,
I totally. My computer went out, and then I came in, and I forgot that I'm actually on screen. So
he's in mode. Oh, it's good seeing you again, buddy. But no,
okay,
that's definitely a way to do the proven product partnering, is to just have them pay you and advise. And we've actually got a couple that they've done that a few times. They've traveled across several states, and the company puts them in a hotel, comes in, trains their staff, trains them how to box and ship and do all that, pays them very well, and they go back home. I mean, that's the way they're using this model, right? And they were able to do this because they've built systems, built a team. They have their business running smooth as silk back at home, right? They're only doing the things that only they can do, which is key to being able to do these business models. That's key to you being able to sit here and do this now with me. It tells me that you've got systems in place. You've got other people putting tape on boxes, or at least you should. Never touch box tape. It's kind of like my rule number one of outsourcing and creating systems. If you're in the internet, if you're in the Amazon or eBay, but you're not the one touching box tape. It's not that you're too good for that. I mean, if I had to go over and get some boxes out today, I know how to use a tape gun, but it's not the best use of my time. Yeah. Am I doing something at that moment that only I could do? No, I'm not. So actually, I'm costing myself a lot of money by doing it. That's the problem. Not that I'm too good for it. It's that it's way too expensive of an activity for me, right? Would you pay someone $900 an hour to put tape on your boxes? If not, why are you doing it? Because your time is worth that, right? Those are the kind of thoughts you need to have.
That's so good. So anybody who buys this, we want to throw in a bonus. Brett and his teams are working on a masterclass right now about Instagram. We have seen huge success through Instagram, and we want to teach you guys how to do it. Brett's going to be on. It's going to be a $47 course, but if you buy the Proven Partnering Proven Product Partnering,
there we go.
If you guys buy it, it's 100% free. We want you in on this webinar or this masterclass. Absolutely amazing opportunity. So yeah, you guys, the link is at the top there. We'll send it over the email, and it really is a fantastic course and something I have absolutely loved and absolutely loved using. Yeah, so I'd love to get into questions. You guys, we have a bunch of questions. If you guys have more, please shoot them. If we don't get to them now, we'll do our best to get to them later too. So yeah, let's see where to start. Sean, I truly believe the magic of business is the community we all have developed, sharing of info and teaching. How does Jim feel about it?
Oh, community is vital. I mean, we've kind of hit it on already, and I think he probably made this comment, earlier when we were hitting it so hard. But lone wolves simply don't make it. I've seen people come and go, and they try to be anonymous. They try to use a pen name and launch a course under a fake name. Those guys just don't last. You can be a flash in the pan, make a little bit of money, but community. And here's actually, here's a good litmus test when you're trying to find someone that you can actually listen to and follow and should I listen to this expert or not? Here's the litmus test. Do they gather their community into a room, virtually of course, and say, hey guys, hang out, learn from each other, do stuff together. Those are the leaders you want to follow, is the people who do that. Because I know a lot of leaders who their worst nightmare is getting all their customers into one room, because the bad news travels fast. I'm telling you, man, bad news as a leader on the internet, you better have integrity and good solid systems, because bad news, you think good news travels fast? No. Bad news travels at lightning speed. So when you've got your whole audience hanging out together, and one of the 150,000 people you've served in the last 5 years has an issue, and rather than calling your support, they decide to go out in the middle of your audience and say, hey, this is what just happened to me. What do you guys think of that? You better be ready to handle it. It takes a lot of integrity. It takes a great system. It takes a lot of people who believe in you and a good team to say, oh, that's the exception to the rule. I'm sure something's off. I'm sure they'll address the issue. Let's get this figured out. And this is all happening publicly, right? You want to be a part of a community where those kind of things happen. There's no perfect leaders or perfect communities, but you want to be a part of one where when an issue rises up, it gets addressed. It gets talked about. It's openly discussed. Transparency, right? So the way we measure success in our community is, from my vantage point, the only way anyone teaching internet marketing strategy should measure their success, and that's this: success stories. That's how we measure our success. If we're not producing success stories, something's broke. If we are producing success stories, everything's running great. That's how we measure it, right? So be a part of a community that measures their success in success stories. That's a good group to be in. I know Brett does the same thing. You guys have that great kind of, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of overlap because the good guys kind of hang out, right? Brett was at my event, and when Brett has a live event someday of his own, I'm hoping he remembers who I am and has me at his live event, right? We all kind of hang out together. So you can the good guys kind of separate themselves off a little bit, and the guys who don't mind deceiving people and doing massive launches, and I could go off on a whole tangent there. You don't want to be a part of that community. The kind of community that gathers like moths to a flame, or you kind of feel like you're being herded a little bit. No, that's not community. Not like 1,000 strangers clicking like on some Facebook video they just watched. That's not a community. I'm talking about the same people on a regular basis, hanging out, getting to know them. Can't wait to meet them live in person someday and hug their neck because they've helped you back and forth 18 times on little issues. That's a community. Not the fake social excitement of one big launch with 4 videos and then it all dies away a couple months later. I'm not talking about that. That's not a community, guys. A community is long term. There's people who've been in our community for 12, 15 years at this point, right? Like they brag, like, oh yeah, I read Silent Sales Machine version 2. What's the first version you read? Oh man, I didn't start reading it until version 7. That's the community you want to be a part of.
That's so cool. Jim asked, have you gotten on, you as in Jim, Jim asked Jim, if you've gotten on Merch Amazon. Have you gotten involved with that?
Not yet. I've heard some cool stuff happening. I'm not a first adapter. Never have been. Never will be. No interest in it whatsoever. There's nothing in it for me to be the guinea pig, right? If something starts happening there and someone hits some home runs and they build a system that can be translated out to many people and they can use and duplicate, then, oh yeah, you'll hear about it from me. This is the reason I've never come out with a Facebook course. There for a while, there were Facebook marketing courses everywhere. And I was being approached. I was like, when are you going to come out with a Facebook marketing course? And I'm like, as soon as someone comes out with a concept that actually works for people, I will come out with a Facebook course. But until I see one, which I still haven't, by the way, I'm not going to ask people to spend money on a Facebook marketing course. You know, it's pay-per-click advertising. The rules are the same everywhere. You know, there's some good things happening. There's some people who've made some money, but there's not a system out there that I think, I'm going to go teach people. You know, so until I see that, and I'm not talking about an expert coming out with a course. That's not an indication that there's something cool going on. I'm not talking about one person having success. That doesn't mean anything to me either. I'm talking about, hey, Jim, I've taught 40 people how to make an extra $1,000 a week doing some pretty cool stuff using these 8 strategies. You know, can I partner up with you, and will you massage this course and, you know, roll it out to your community? And I'll look it over and we'll pick it apart and we'll try to use it ourselves. And if it succeeds, then you'll hear me talking about it. Until that happens, it's just another thing happening, and I've heard of it, and I know there's some decent books out there about it, and I'm waiting. You know, I mean, it feels a lot like Teespring to me. I'm like, you know, I don't get too excited about it yet, but who knows? Now, are there people making money? Sure. Is there a system that's been developed that we can teach a bunch of people and they can be better for it in the end? I'm not there yet. Haven't. So that's kind of a big answer to the little question. No, I'm not on there yet. I'm waiting. I'm not an early adapter. There's no reason for me to be. I've got the audience. And the reason my audience trusts me is because I don't hop on the bandwagon every time something new and cool comes out. Yeah. I say no. Our team says no to about 80% of the ideas that are pitched to us. Then those 20%, we pick apart until there's only about 2 or 3% left. So out of 100 good ideas, we'll follow and see 2 or 3 perfect right ideas. Knowing the difference between good ideas and right ideas is vital. I teach this to my kids all the time. You can sit here and think of 50 good ideas right now. Any of us could. 50 good. We're entrepreneurs. We're brainstorm. 50 good ideas. How many of those are great ideas? Probably none of them. If you do that every day, at the end of the week, one of them will be a great idea. One of the most dangerous things we do is spend time on good ideas as entrepreneurs. Oh, that looks like a good idea. I think I'll run down that road for a while. No, that's a time waster. You pursue only great ideas. What's a great idea? A great idea, it's kind of like the difference between hit with a ping pong ball and a Mack truck. Like a ping pong ball hits you, that's a good idea. Like, yeah, oh, that's a good idea. I felt that. I know. Did you see that? Yeah. If a truck hits the scene, you know it happened. It's like, that is so incredibly, you can't miss it. It's perfect timing. It lines up with our philosophy. It's so obvious. It hits our audience exactly where they are. It's the next step. You look at the stuff that we're launching, like with Brett, like we did with Dan with Proven Product Partnering. Perfect timing, because everyone's talking about, oh no, I'm so scared. I'm going to lose my Amazon account. What happens if Amazon shuts me down? Well, here's the answer. Go get 15 Amazon accounts, not of your own, of your clients. And actually get out there and consult with the world, interact. It solves so many little problems. And guys like you look at it as a leadership course. I'm like, I never even thought of it that way, right? So it was the perfect course for our community. Now with Brett, with the Proven Performance Inventory. Perfect course, because everyone's talking, oh, where's my private? I want a private label. And this private label is the only way to go. Oh, let's go spend $8,000 and buy a crate from China. Oh, no, it's in my garage and no one will buy it and it's counterfeit. You know, like we've never pushed people down that road, and so many people are falling for that. No, it's so less complex than that, and that's where this course comes in. So, you know, that's kind of how my brain works and how we launch products. You know, and I'm drifting all over the place, but there you go. That's why I'm not into Amazon Merchant yet, or was it Merch? I can't remember. I've seen it out there, but you know, I'm just not excited yet. It's not a perfect, right idea for my community. Good idea, maybe. That's not good enough.
Yeah, totally. We've loved it and are developing, and I mean, it just started, so we're excited about it. But I love the perspective. We got a question. I haven't sold anything on Amazon, so can I sell my hairdresser's signature product?
Of course. Get them signed up. Get them signed up on their own Amazon account. Go through the steps. It's a great way to learn. Have them pay the bill for all the little things along the way, and get them set up. Get it out there. Now, a little cool tip: if they're not selling well, create your own bundle and tie it to a name brand product that complements it. Name brand product that people are probably searching for every day. And use Brett's course, this PPI course, the Proven Performance Inventory course, to figure out what keyword that would be. But you can guess around and probably figure it out just by fooling around. But if you really want to nail it and ship a bunch of that stuff, that's how you do it. So if you got a product that no one's heard of and you're trying to sell it, bundle it up with a product that everyone's heard of, and you can use the keywords from the name brand product right in your description. That's something awesome. That's something we had trouble doing for a long time on eBay, for example. Name brands like, oh, you can't use our name brand. We don't like you using our name brand. There's always Amazon's like, hey, if you're selling the name brand product and you're bundling it in with another product, throw it right in there, and people will notice it. You'll get
That's
seen.
awesome.
So that's a good way to get the products some momentum.
Cool. Jake asks, what is the best piece of advice for someone getting into private label products on Amazon? I think you just touched on how you haven't done courses on it. What would be your advice to this guy if he's starting?
We actually have Proven Private Label is a course that we did. Now, it's not for newbies. Private label is not for newbies. And people will say, oh, but Jim, but this guy, he started over here with private label, and now he's doing, 60 grand a month, and he loves it. And I'm like, well, let's look at the numbers, though. I can also show you teenagers who strap their guitar to their back and hitchhike to Nashville, and now they're country music stars, right? I can show you people who went to a gas station, bought a lottery ticket, and now they're multimillionaires. But do I advise against those courses of action? No, I do not. Why? Because of the odds. Our community is literally inundated with people who jumped in as newbies and said, I'm going to do private label. Look at those people. They succeeded. Look at the odds. Okay, there have been thousands and thousands and thousands of people who bought into very expensive private label courses. We probably all know the name of the good majority of them, what they invested in. And you look at how many of them are actually succeeding. Percentage of success. That's very important to me. What are your odds of success? And one of the promises that I make in this book, when I start talking about business ideas, one of the promises I make early on in the Silent Sales Machine book is the business ideas I'm going to teach you, none of them require you to go to your spouse and wring your hands and say, honey, I'm about to write a $25,000 check. I'm going to spend some money on a course and some money on a product, and I need you to believe in me here because I think this is it. And you have to go back and forth and debate and borrow $5,000 from your mother-in-law, and you have to tighten up the budget. No, it's just not necessary to take those kind of insane risks. Now, do those work out sometimes? Yeah. Does it work out more than buying, say, a Subway franchise? Probably, yeah, more than buying some kind of franchise opportunity. But there's far lower hanging fruit. And if you're willing to grow your business slow and steady, there's no need to ever spend more than a few dollars here and there. If you want some one-on-one coaching, maybe spend a little bit more money. But at no point do you need to go write a $10,000 check or, heaven forbid, thousands for just a course. That's ridiculous. So private label, yeah, you can do it. Is it where I expect you to be if you're a newbie? No. No. It's not for newbies. It's really not. This course that we're doing with Brett, the Proven Performance Inventory, for example, that's very newbie friendly, very low risk. You can start seeing home runs very quickly. I'm not anti-private label. Some people think I am. I'm not. I just have a lot of newbies in my crowd. I want to make sure they understand, and I've written about this on my blog. You can go check it out. The reasons. I don't like big launches. I don't like private label. I mean, there's a lot of things going against that. I don't like when the herd are like moths to a flame or attracted to an idea, and where all the big hitter affiliates are out there talking about stuff they don't know anything about, promoting. I've had people promoting the private label opportunity on Amazon. They have no idea what they're talking about, but they have big mailing lists because they want to collect the big commission checks from the big launches. So now you've got thousands of people who don't know what they're doing, and they're all in there trying to sell their same, water bottle, or there was just like a handful of. You see these products popping up everywhere. I don't want to be in a community of newbies that are all kind of bouncing off of each other, scared because they just spent $15,000 and it has to work or they're in trouble. That's not the community I want to be a part of.
That's good. What are the different marketplaces we can talk to? As in, if we're going to go partner with people, how do you get them ungated in grocery, for example? I myself have had challenges in getting approvals. What do you suggest?
I've yet to face an ungating situation myself. I turn it over to my team, and we have connections, and we discuss, like in our Facebook community, and people are like, hey, anyone got ungated in grocery? What'd you do? How'd you do it? How'd you go about it? You hit a brick wall, there's always 15 solutions. One of the solutions is that we've found is you partner with someone who's already ungated. I mean, how complicated is that? I can't get ungated, just can't get there, can't get. Okay, well, if you've got, because it comes down to this simple principle. If you can find profitable inventory, or find people who have profitable inventory, you got it made. There's 1,000 ways to move it.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be your account. It doesn't have to be your client's account. It could be your partner's account that you trust. That's why these partnerships are so important. So let's say you just can't get yourself ungated. You've tried an ungating service, and this person recommended who said, hey, just do it this way, and that didn't work. for whatever reason, you still can't get there, find someone who is there. Get a good agreement going and get that product out there. I mean, there's always a creative solution. We've got people living on tiny islands in the middle of nowhere with inconsistent internet, making tons of money doing this stuff. That's why I put that interview with Barrington right at the top of the Proven Amazon course. Because here's a guy living on an island, a little house on an island, right? And he's killing it on Amazon. And people will call up and complain, and they're like, dude, go listen to that interview.
Yeah.
You can do this stuff from anywhere. There's always a creative solution to everything. So they're like, well, I don't see a whole lot of people from my country succeeding on Amazon. Your location doesn't matter. It's the internet. Doesn't matter. That's completely irrelevant where you live or what roadblocks you happen to be hitting right now. Well, it just isn't working for me. No, there's always at least 5 or 10 creative solutions to every situation we run into. So am I going to give you specific ungating advice for grocery right now? No, because I don't do a whole lot of that myself. My team does when they run into it. I'd probably find a creative partner.
Cool.
That's what I'd do if I couldn't get ungated in a category where I've got some really profitable products sitting here.
I love it. Love it. It's so funny. The next question was, can we do proven product partnering from outside the U.S.? Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can, and yes, you should.
Jump through the screen. Shake your mouth. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you live. Yeah, your geographic location is completely irrelevant. That's the beauty of the business we're in, guys. Is I tell people this all the time. I've got a multi-million-dollar business, and if I had to, I could pick it all up right now, hang up this call right now, walk out my front door with my family, jump in a van, fly somewhere else in the world, and no one would even know or care that if we'd moved permanently. You stick a pin in the map. As long as they've got internet and no one's shooting at me, I'm good. I can make this business work.
That's awesome. Phil is asking. He was asking. There's a couple. Oh, there will be a replay. Someone was asking that. Maxwell, your 2 books that you had recommended. Maxwell, and then who else?
Anything by John Maxwell is going to be awesome. I mentioned Daniel Lapin, Lapin, probably my favorite living author. We had him speak at our conference a couple years ago. Dude's incredible. His podcast is incredible. He's a mentor to me. I bounce ideas off of him. I've had the pleasure of getting to know him. I mean, this guy's has advised presidents. Okay, he's like legit, cool, awesome guy. Great guy to know and to dig into. And the other book we referenced was Winning Friends and Influencing People.
Yes.
Yeah, was that the Dale Carnegie book? Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That should be, if I could go into high schools around our country right now and just influence them at just a tweak and a little, we need entrepreneurs, guys. Let's get kids reading these kind of books. Let's get kids proudly standing up in class when the teacher asks, so what do you guys want to be when you grow up? And instead of giving answers like, well, I want to save the world. I want to, save the planet. I want to save the animals. I want to, help my fellow man. Those are all great answers. Okay, there's some legitimacy behind that. That's all cool. Where are the people proudly standing up and saying, I want to start a company with 500 employees, make millions of dollars, and change tens of millions of lives? Kids don't stand up and say that. They should be very proud to stand up and say that, because without those kind of leaders in the funnel coming down none of the other stuff happens. We don't get to travel to other countries and dig wells and provide money and make donations if no one's making any money. Our economy relies on people making money. Our free market economy relies on transactions happening. That's business owners. That's the glue that holds all this together. You take that out of the equation, Atlas shrugged, baby. I mean, it's all over. Your entrepreneurs are gone. The whole culture collapses. You don't have volunteers doing great work without entrepreneurs supporting and paying for the equipment and the supplies and making it possible. So we need those kind of people in the funnel. And those books I just mentioned are going to help you. Another one I'll mention too, one of my favorites right now, Dave Ramsey, I mentioned him earlier. I actually had the pleasure, he endorsed one of my books. A great story behind that. I'll tell this story real quick because it sounds like I'm name dropping with that one. He's like the number 1 or 2 radio talk show host in the U.S. right now. For those who haven't heard of him, in the United States, he's very popular. He endorsed my book. Well, here's how we did it. I went to my community and I said, hey guys, I'm writing a book. And I was thinking a few days ago, and by the way, I donated every penny of this book to charity because that was part of the pitch to Dave Ramsey, to my buddy Kevin, who runs a great ministry in Detroit. But anyway, I said, Dave, I made a little video, and I said, Dave, I want you to endorse this book. Every penny's going to charity. It's all ideas and principles you can get behind. I'm going to send you a copy. It's in your office right now. And I just want you to watch this video and then check out the book and give me an endorsement, which is very, very hard to get, by the way. I mean, if you want to get his endorsement, you got to have a lot of things lined up. Well, then I went to my community and said, hey guys, here's a web page where I set up a video to Dave. If you know anyone that knows anyone that knows anyone that might know someone that works at his office, just pound them and say, hey Dave, we need you to watch this 45-second video from Jim. 3 days later, I got a call from his office, an email actually, and they said, would you please call off your community because Dave is going to read the book and he's going to give you an endorsement, okay? It was beautiful. It's like my community totally stepped up the bat for me, and I said, hey guys, he's going to do it. It's okay. So then they all died down. But he's another great author. The reason I mentioned him was his book, Entree Leadership. It's a phenomenal book. It's kind of a mashing of entrepreneur and leadership. Again, as business owners, if you're going to be good at it, you're going to be a good leader. The two concepts overlap. Good business lessons are good leadership lessons. It's the exact same concepts. And that book talks about how he went from 0 to 200 employees. Actually, if Brett hasn't read it, I've told him to read it a couple times now. When you see him, like, dude, have you read Entree Leadership yet? Because some of the challenges you guys are going through, going from 0 to 50 to eventually maybe 100, you become a people manager and not a business manager if you're not careful. And hiring the right people, vital, vital, vital stuff. You know, like, for example, when you're hiring someone and you're going to work in your company every day, take their spouse out to dinner before you hire them. Them and their spouse. Go with your spouse and sit down with their spouse. Because as Dave Ramsey says, this isn't me, this is one of his quotes. It's the kind of stuff he does in the book. He says, if they're married to crazy, they're crazy. Right? And I'm like, oh, that's so good. Because you want to know what they're going home to every night. If that spouse just sits there and like, oh, I don't know, whatever, this is just the next job, and they don't thank you for dinner, and they're not polite, and they're not interested and engaged in the conversation, you do not want that employee. It doesn't matter how good they are. Because as Dave says, married to crazy is crazy. So he gives you that kind of specific advice that you'd never naturally probably think of on your own about growing and hiring and those sorts of things. So another great book since we're dropping books.
I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. And Felix is asking when Proven Performance Inventory is coming out because he wants it.
Oh, there you go. That's what I like. I don't know. I wish I did. We don't do launches the way most people do. We launch it when it's ready, and that means my team gets it. I've used it with success. My team is using it with success. All the little details are worked out. We don't put it on the calendar and do 4 videos and rally the troops of all the, all the affiliates out there. It's circle this date on your calendar kind of thing. We're just like, hey, it's ready, launch it. Now, I will tell you this: within a week, I'd be very shocked if it's not out within a week. I'll be shocked. And the sales page. I'm probably going to be able to say with 100% certainty this is the best sales letter. Not because I've used the right trigger or emotional keyword. I don't do that. It's a white background and black writing. Like here's how I do sales letters. Everybody want Jim Cockrum's $1,000 sales letter marketing tips. I've sold hundreds of thousands of dollars months where we've just sold digital goods using this exact sales letter template. I'm going to give you my template. I've sold millions of dollars with this template. Here it is. Here's what I have. Here's what it does. Here's how to get it. That's it. That's my sales letter. You've just heard my entire strategy for sales letters. Here's what I have. Here's what it does. Here's how to get it. Done. That's your sales letter. It's like, well, Jim, that's oversimplifying things just a bit, isn't it? No, it's not. Because once your audience trusts you, they don't need any more information than that. And if your audience doesn't trust you, you haven't earned the right to get them onto a sales letter yet. So I don't need these $1,000 copywriting courses on power, trigger, emotion words, and I don't need that. If your audience trusts you, they don't care. They're going to read the headline and scroll to the bottom and buy the product. That's it. That's all they need. So when this course rolls out, this letter is, the information we have on there. I was telling my guys, I'm like, if I didn't know me, I could not resist this because Brett's story is so compelling. And he's got such an incredible system, and we show you this system, and we have a little video of Brett and I meeting and talking this through, a couple minutes, and me introducing him at our event, and it's such a cool story, the Chuck and Brett story that we talked about earlier. Like, okay, these are real guys. This is really how it happened. He's really got an 8-figure business. They really have created thousands of success stories. I need this. And the price is what? You're not going to believe how ridiculously low the price is. we could have a massive launch. I told my community this just a few days ago. I said, guys, if we launched this using the launch formula that everyone loves so much, the 4 videos, and you get all the affiliates that don't know what they're talking about promoting it, and you tell them you're going to pay them half of every sale, pay them all. I'll pay you guys $2,000 a sale on this $4,000 product. Brett and I could have easily a $3 to $5 million single sales day. Easily. And those who know me well know I'm not pulling your leg here. I'm saying we could definitely do that. Are we going to do that? No, absolutely not. I'm not a fan of big launches. I'm not a fan of fake hype. I'm not a fan of drawing fans like moths to a flame and then it all fizzles out. I'm a fan of truly helping entrepreneurs. Remember, how the only way I measure my company's success is creating success stories. What gets us from where we are now to the maximum number of success stories the shortest time from now? Courses like this, priced ridiculously inexpensive. And if that takes them and makes them not credible for some reason, like, oh, well, you can't possibly have a course that's that good for that price. Well, you need to stick around a while, learn to trust us, and learn that, yeah, it is that good. It is 10 times worth 10 times more than the price we charge, which is actually the baseline that we use. Everything we sell is for 10 times less than we probably should sell it for, which is a terrible marketing. But we end up with the best community on the planet, which is our goal, creating success stories and then having the best community on the planet of serious entrepreneurs who are actually making a living on the internet. Not people who are jumping around, shiny object syndrome, product to product. I could care less. I don't want them. The big launches love those guys. They want people buying 8 launches in a row. They need that. That's their business model. I don't want that. I want successful entrepreneurs that I can bounce ideas off of, guys like Brett that I can partner with and create new powerful courses. So there you go. When's it coming out? Very soon. Great question. That was a short answer.
The next question, basically in short, is there any good advice for getting reviews on Amazon products?
Yes. And this is going to sound flippant, and I apologize in advance. But this is how I roll, okay? It's the same advice I give for search engine optimization. How do you get... I wrote my shortest blog post ever was how to be ranked high on Google forever. How to be ranked on the first page of Google forever for your most desired keywords. You ready for the advice? Get your pencil ready. Be the best. That's it. Be the best. Done. How complicated is that? Because eventually everyone's going to link to you and everyone's going to love your stuff and you're going to be ranked #1 on Google. That's how it happened. That's why they pay a room full of NASA smart multi-million-dollar engineers to make sure that no one games the system and gets ranked #1 when they don't deserve to be there. So how do you get great reviews? Have a great product. Next question. Now, to be serious for a moment, when you're trying to get that momentum, it can be tricky. So there's great products out there. We've partnered up with Snag Shout is great. They sponsored our event. So that you're following up with your customers and saying, hey, you got our product now. Do you mind leaving a review? We'd love to get a review because only about 1 out of 40 or 50 people organically leave a review on their own. And you can bump that number up to like 1 out of 20 or 30 if you ping them an email reminder and you can automate that system. So that's the best way. But my #1 advice, just be the best. Don't game the system. There's courses out there teaching you to game the system, and they create these, I call it scratch my back circles. You can see them so easy on Amazon too. You go in and it's like, okay, here you've got this toilet brush. People who bought this toilet brush also bought this remote control car, and they also bought this spatula set, and they also bought this water bottle. I'm like, I wonder what's going on here. They all bought each other's stuff and left each other a review. That's what's going on, and Amazon can see that just like we all can, and guess what's going to probably happen to all of them at some point? Vanish, because they're manipulating the system. So don't get in there and manipulate the system with these scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I saw them pop up on Facebook for a while. It's like, hey, join our group, and then what we're going to do is we're going to buy each other's products and then refund each other, but leave a review, and here's how it works, and we're going to mark our products down to $1 and everybody buys it and everyone leaves a review for everyone, 5-star only, please. No. Don't game the system, guys. If you want to get great reviews, be the best. Be the best long term. That's how you win the game long term. Everything else is manipulation. Amazon has a room full of really smart guys. They're looking for ways to shut down stupid ideas like review circles. Don't get into one. Don't do it. Follow Amazon's policies. Do it legitimately. The game is just as easy, if not easier, when you play it the right way. You think cutting corners is easy? It's not. the price you pay in the end is so high. You get shut down for having done reviews the wrong way. It's not worth it. So how do you get reviews? Be great. 2-word answer. Shortest answer you'll ever get to that question. How do you get great reviews? Be great.
That's so good. I definitely have notes on it. I hope you guys took notes. That's fantastic. I love it. I love the not gaming the system. I think that's something we all want to figure out some sort of secret key or something. But I love that. We got one last question, and then we'll be finishing.
Sure.
How does one find? I like this question. I think you're gonna have a good answer. How does one find the time to take all of these courses and then actually do something with it? How do you develop a good business plan?
This is a question that can be asked in several different ways. Several different versions of this same question. The same question, for example, is how do I outsource? Or what tasks should I outsource? Or how do you juggle so many businesses? Or how do you keep your priorities straight? Or how many hours of work a week do you actually work, Jim? There's several various ways you could ask that exact same question. I'm going to answer them all. And that's this. The simplest possible way I can answer that is only do the stuff that only you can do. If you are building profitable systems, which sometimes takes a period of intense effort. There are days where I come into my office at 8 in the morning and I don't leave till 9 that night. Does it happen very often? No, sir. My wife does not like those days. My kids don't like those days. I don't like those days. Are they necessary sometimes? Yeah, sure, they are. Those intense periods of focused effort. But what I'm doing during that time of intense focused effort is building a system that can be passed off to someone else. So I'm only doing the stuff that only I can do. Anything that's repetitive in nature, anything you find yourself doing at the same time over and over again every day in order to keep your business up and going, you should not be the person doing it. Each day should feel just completely different from the next if you're doing stuff that only you can do. And here's the 3 things that only you can do. There's 3 of them: creativity, leadership, and relationships. Those are the 3. It all comes down to those 3. If what I'm doing right now doesn't have to do with creativity, leadership, or relationships, and here's a hint, putting tape on boxes is not anything to do with any of those 3. You know what? It could be leadership, actually. If people are whining and complaining because there's snow on the ground and they don't want to come in and put tape on the boxes today, and you're like, you know what, guys? I'm walking to work. It's 2 miles. And I'm going to put tape on boxes. That could be leadership. Okay, I'll give you that one. But on a day-to-day basis, putting tape on boxes isn't leadership. Leadership is allowing yourself enough free time in your head. I do this by running. I'm thinking through my business. I'm thinking through my clients. I'm thinking through the situations. I'm giving my brain time to process all of this stuff, and I'm coming up with creative solutions. That doesn't happen if you're sitting there answering all of your own customer support email. Those things don't happen. Your brain's focused on the keyboard and the screen. Creativity doesn't happen. So the things that only you can do are creativity, leadership, and relationships. And to answer the specific question, how do you find time to take all these new courses? You keep your time as free as you possibly can, and you have time set aside every week, as I do, to learn new skills and test new things. It's built in to my week. If I don't have time every week where I'm learning new things, and I'm not working on my HTML or my Java. I'm not talking about learning how to edit video. And those are skills. People with skills work for people with ideas. I'm talking about expanding my ideas. I'm talking about evaluating great ideas that are coming across my desk. Brett sends me an idea, then Barrington sends me an idea, and this guy over here sends me an idea, and we're thinking, okay, how do we make these work? Does this make sense for our community? Let me experiment with this one. So there's time built into my schedule to do those things, and I'm not sacrificing family time to do it.
That's so
I only
good.
work 20 to 25 hours a week is my goal. Do I go over it? Yeah, sometimes. Do I go well under it a lot of times? Yeah, I do. We're going to Disney for a week. Good luck getting me on email.
Come on
right?
now.
That's coming on next week. Or I'm sorry, next month. We're gone for a week. And I'll check in. I'll check the numbers. My business will probably grow. So the question isn't, how do you find time to learn new things and new ideas and these new courses? The answer is, if you don't have time to do those things, you're done. You're done. Because you're stuck doing stuff that other people should be doing, and that's a formula we like to call burnout. Right? You're the hamster. You're the hamster on the wheel. Now, I don't care how good a shape you are, Mr. Hamster. Eventually, you run out of energy, and if you're the hamster on the wheel keeping your business going, eventually Either you get sick, or you just need a break, or you're just sick of it all, or you're burnt out. I talked with, this is a good final thought to end on. I talked with my coaching directors. We have a couple guys that run our coaching program, and we've been doing this together for 10 years. And we said, one of them said, just a few weeks ago, it occurred to me recently, like, I have never been bored. I have never thought to myself, oh, this is just like, oh, I got to go to work again today. I love what I do. Why is that? We thought, and I said, I think I know. And I would love to hear other people's answers to this if you're in the same thing. If you've been doing what you love for 10 years and you've never literally had never a boring day, like, I love what I'm doing, I will bet money that what you're doing involves a heavy amount of serving other people and helping improve their lives. Because if what you're doing doesn't serve other people and help them improve their lives, and you're doing whatever it is you do every day over and over and over again, you will get sick of it eventually. Because my theory is, and this is a Daniel Lapin concept, remember the author recommended Lapin, L-A-P-I-N, we are made by God's design to serve others. And if you're not incorporating that into everything you do, it's not going to be fulfilling. It's going to be meaningless. I know people with millions of dollars that have totally meaningless, lost, purposeless lives. Say, yeah, money, what? My dad worked for one of the wealthiest men in America. This is a great job to have as a 12-year-old. One of the wealthiest men in America. We got to go and clean his boats and clean his swimming pool and mow his grass. And to this day, I was 12. I'm in my mid-40s now, plus a couple. I've never met anyone more miserable than that dude's wife. They had more money than anyone I've ever met. Multi-hundreds of millions of dollars, and this is in the 80s, when it was a lot more money than it is now, even, right? She was miserable to be around, to listen to see, to hear her talk, her countenance, her expression. Miserable. And as I think back, she never did anything for anyone. I never saw her say, hey, Jim, you need a Coke? You're working hard out there, buddy. She'd walk past me in a huff and go, you missed a spot. She was that person. She never did anything nice. She never made her life about others, and she was miserable. So my theory as to why we've never had a boring day and we find this so compelling and interesting and exciting every day is because we're doing this to serve others. We're measuring our success in the success of others. So find a way to incorporate serving into your business model, and you will never have a boring, monotonous day. And then take out all those repetitive tasks and give them to someone else. It's the sky's the limit. You have plenty of time. I have unlimited time to learn new good ideas and turn them and test them and see if they're great, right ideas, which I could talk for an hour about good, great, and right ideas. Right ideas. I love right ideas. That's what we're going for. Man, this has been fun. If you can't tell, I mean, I really love doing this stuff. This is the real me doing what I really love to do. This is what I was made for. There's no question in my mind. So I'm honored that you guys brought me on today.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. I feel so moved. Like, that's so where my heart has been pointing to, and I feel like answered a lot of questions in my own heart. And so, awesome. To get real for a second, thank you. Awesome. And for those of you, if you guys have other questions, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. For those of you who are watching this and will be watching the replay on YouTube, again, if you want to get proven product partnering, you can get that at www.theonlineempireacademy.com/partner. Again, www.theonlineempireacademy.com/partner, and you will get our coming up. It's our Instagram masterclass. So you guys don't want to miss that one. That's going to be fun. Thank you so much, everyone who came out and who stayed. Yes, we so appreciate you guys. And Jim, thank you. Beyond thank you. Thank you. This
was a blast. Let's do it again, man. Anytime. I loved it.
Absolutely. We will. Until next time, everybody, have a fantastic day.